I have worked with so many sellers who have not the results that they seek, or I've had some sellers who have hit multiple 6 figures, multiple 5 figures in their businesses. And the difference that I have seen between these sellers comes down to their research and planning phases in their businesses. Maybe you right now, where you may feel like you are sprinting, but you're not catching up to other sellers. Maybe you're throwing spaghetti at the wall. Even if you're new and you haven't started an Etsy shop yet, I think this video is just a must to watch. I say this from a place in not only being a prior top 1% Etsy seller, but also working with not just one, but multiple top 1% Etsy and print-on-demand sellers that I currently work with to this day on a monthly basis. With a lot of the clients and people I've worked with, one thing that I've noticed about those clients is what they do when they are starting an Etsy and print-on-demand business and when they are creating new listings is they go in with a strategy that is developed around the current market on Etsy and where search volume is, where the demand is. With sellers that I've seen that typically will be super excited to start listing in their businesses but not see results, is they will go in and they will design for what they think people will want. If you feel like you are creating listings and you're not seeing sales, one of the reasons may be because you don't know your market as well as maybe you think you do. When we are going to sell on Etsy and any listing we sell on Etsy, we want to make sure that there is a search volume there is a customer that is actively looking for a design or a product type that maybe you are going to create in the future. So without further ado, we're going to hop straight into this video. If you are new here, don't forget to like this video to share it to more people, subscribe for more content like this. And then also I have a free print-on-demand crash course in the links down below. So if you haven't started your print-on-demand business yet, this is an entirely free A to Z course to teach you what you should know that I think a lot of sellers don't know when they start at Etsy and print-on-demand business. I have a step-by-step walkthrough guide that I highly recommend checking out down below. So let's get straight into this video, guys. So today I'm going to be showing you some free research tools and then also paid research tools. Now, one of the research tools that I love to use is simply Etsy. Now, what I do recommend in addition to Etsy is the Chrome extension Evergreen. I'm going to be using it today to just show you and validate the demand that we're going to be seeing in our research of this video. Now, the second research tool that I'm going to be showing today is Google Trends. So Google Trends is completely free. I've used it in a few YouTube videos prior to this, and I think it's a really great tool as well because we can see trends, we can see kind of what's going on, even listings we can create that might not be on Etsy right now, but we can be the first to the market with those types of listings, right? When you're starting your research process, look at what is currently selling on Etsy and also the categories that Etsy is recommending on the homepage. So if I go to Etsy and I am just looking at, let's say I click on Etsy, we go to home, and they are suggesting birthdays, right? They're saying milestone gifts. So that is a huge indicator of what is selling on Etsy, right? So we already have one idea, which is birthdays, milestone birthdays, maybe 30th birthdays, 40th, 50th, 60th, 70th, right? Etsy's not a gatekeeper. This is what is selling on Etsy. So if we look into categories as well, so I'm going to go to gifts. So first off, if you look on the gift tab on Etsy, Etsy is a gift giving platform. So when we're doing our initial research, what's really important is to just look at what Etsy's recommending. Again, Etsy's not gatekeeping. It is telling you exactly what's selling. There's no secrets here. And as we can see, extra special gifting made easy, extra easy. I can't read today. But as we can see, so let's look at some things that are trending in the next month. So Mother's Day. I'm filming this in March right now. So we're 2 months away from, I would say less than 2 months away from Mother's Day. So Easter, with other areas on Etsy that are selling right now and categories Etsy suggesting is wedding, birthday, anniversary, thank you, sympathy, get well, engagement, new baby, expecting parent, teacher appreciation. So again, Etsy is giving us all of these ideas, right? There's no question marks. It's kind of right in front of where we can go into and ideas on what's selling, right? So as I scroll down, these are things Etsy's suggesting. So gifts for a great night's sleep. So maybe pillows, right? We can create that with print on demand. We have cute planners, gifts for relaxation, hand-painted trinket and jewelry boxes, crochet bouquets. We have artisan chocolates. These are things that are trending, right? As far as kind of getting some ideas here, these are what I like to show. So some of these on the screen are seasonal niches and some are evergreen niches. So when we are developing our research strategy and we are looking into listings to create for or markets we may create for, I want you to consider evergreen versus seasonal niches. If you're looking into niches, what a niche is this is a interest, this is a hobby, this is something that is basically the main reason someone is shopping on Etsy. Now, when it comes to evergreen versus seasonal niches are usually a niche that performs a few months out of the year in comparison to an evergreen niche that sells all year round. However, this is something that I like to do is I always like to tie in a evergreen niche. So what's an evergreen niche that we can tie in with Mother's Day listings? What I would recommend is doing gifts for mom, right? So there's Mother's Day and then mom has a birthday too. So we can create SEO in our keywords that we are creating listings that can be sold for Mother's Day and then also just gifts for mom outside of Mother's Day. So that's what I want everyone to get into in the beginning of this video is I want you to put yourself in the shoes of the buyer. Who is the buyer? Who are they buying this gift for? You are the gift creator and curator to bring their vision to life. So this is a really important part of the research phase and one of the reasons why, again, we're kind of diving deep into this in the video. So when it comes to, let's say, wedding gifts. So when I click into wedding gifts, we see a wedding keepsake displays, we have first dance song gifts, we have cocktail napkins, engraved coasters that we can actually sell through Etsy, given we can't do maybe the engraved designs like this, but with print on demand and Printify, they do offer coasters. So that's something and a category on Etsy that there is market demand for that we could go into, right? Ceramic plate sets, personalized map prints. So I just did a wall print tutorial. And again, wall prints is something we can create with Printify. Last name signs, matching honeymoon gear. Matching honeymoon gear, again, that's something that we can create with print on demand and Printify. So again, using Etsy and just seeing what's selling and the categories Etsy is suggesting. There is no gatekeeping on Etsy. Again, if you've made it to this part of this video, type down below, I can't believe this was gate kept. And I'll know you watched this point of the video because we'll troll our comment section. If you know and you watch my videos, you know I love to troll our comment section. So now that we have a good idea of maybe what is selling through the categories that Etsy's suggesting, let's go a little bit further. So first off, I want to introduce you to Everbee, which is a Chrome extension. It just so seamlessly works on the Etsy algorithm. So I'm going to show you something that I do with the Everbee Chrome extension. And if you are curious about this, you can look in my description and I have it linked down below. But in this research tool, if I type in, let's say I put honeymoon, since we have some validation from Etsy, I want to see how many monthly searches there are. So when I type this in the search bar, you will see a little bee icon near the search phrases, and we can see what the monthly search volume is. So in comparison, if we didn't have Everbee, it would just list out maybe honeymoon shirt, honeymoon outfit, honeymoon t-shirt white, right? So if I wasn't using Everbee, I may have created t-shirts that are white. However, as I can see, honeymoon shirt is trending. So instead of using keywords and SEO such as honeymoon t-shirt white, yes, there is 7 monthly searches for that, but I would rather use honeymoon shirt that has over 1,000 monthly searches, right? So if I click into honeymoon shirt, now we have a good idea of maybe what is selling. So I'm going to look over some bestseller listings to validate the market. Now, at the very bottom of each listing, you're going to see a bee icon. And again, this is giving us that market validation through Everbee, because we're seeing one listing that has matching honeymoon t-shirts. This has 35 monthly sales. Another listing that is honeymoon matching t-shirts has 65 monthly sales. So again, I'm validating the market as I'm going through this, rather than kind of going through Etsy blindly if I didn't have this type of Chrome extension. And this is just a game changer, in my opinion, for my research. And one of the reasons why I have been able to create so many listings now that have scaled on Etsy is due to research and validation that I'm not guessing. I know people are searching this. I know people are buying. Given you can have searches on Etsy, but you may not have purchases, right? And with Everbee, we're able to see this, right? So again, another listing is having 37 sales a month. It's been listed 11 months now. So that's really great and really encouraging for anyone who's looking to join into this market. You could create a listing today that could compete with these listings on Etsy and get sales and maybe be a bestseller listing next year on Etsy, right? The world is your oyster when it comes to just seeing this research and seeing what's selling. And as we can see here, I found another bestseller listing. This listing has 118 sales, and given it's been on Etsy for 53 months, but 118 sales a month, that is insane. That is insane. So the next feature of Everbee that I want to show in this video is the product analytics tool. So when it comes to product analytics, we can analyze this whole page, or we can analyze Everbee's database. So I'm going to look at Everbee's database first, and I'm going to analyze all listings. So if we didn't have Everbee, what Etsy does is it does cycle new listings that don't sell but may have maybe a high click rate or high impressions, and Etsy is cycling those listings through the Etsy algorithm to see if they're going to sell or not. So sometimes when you're looking at the first page of search, it's not entirely accurate to what is actually selling on Etsy. And Everbee gives us that clear insight to show us, okay, this is what's selling, this is what's not selling, right? So when I'm looking at current sales, what I like to do is I like to tab down on this monthly revenue, which it already is for us. So we can see this listing is doing 555 sales. Oh my goodness. To put this into perspective, in my Etsy shop that hit top 1% Etsy shop seller status, that shop did about 500 orders a month over having 300 listings. But to have one listing, guys, one listing doing 555 monthly sales, that is insane. That is shocking. If I look at the trends, so this is a new feature on Everbee that I really love lately, because this gives us insight to when during the year this is selling. So I can filter, and I'm actually going to make this larger. So as we can see, we have last 30 days, but let's say I want to look in the last year. So as we can see, this listing really didn't start trending until it looks like it trended from May to July initially. And it didn't have this volume of sales, as we can see last year. But this year, so from August, it started to grow on Etsy. And then it really started to hit a peak in November. And now it's just been selling continuously. Oh my goodness. It's been selling, it's been having up to 36 order sale days. That is insane. And ever since probably August, this listing has had almost over 5 sales a day estimated through Everbee. And that is incredible. So the growth rate on this is 160%. So again, this is something that's trending. And as we can see in the keywords, it says embroidered. embroidered anniversary date. So again, anniversary date as a listing, anniversary, that's a evergreen niche, right? Something that we talked about earlier. And as we can see, this seller is going to have consistent sales throughout the year. Of course, given it looks like February, it's going to sell a little bit more because it is ranking for Valentine's Day. So again, talking about mixing an evergreen niche keyword term and search on Etsy with a seasonal niche, they're using Valentine's Day plus anniversary. So that is just incredible, incredible here. And if we go into the tags, look at this, guys. They have honeymoon shirt. That is the keyword search that Everbee showed us only, 5 minutes ago when I was initially typing into search. This is just one example of many. I could go through this whole list and show you all what is selling on Etsy. We see sweatshirts. So crewneck sweatshirts are selling for the honeymoon niche, and the keywords they're using is honeymoon shirt. Again, they're using Valentine's Day, matching sweatshirts, custom embroidery, right? So this is giving us market validation and showing us that maybe a honeymoon couple is searching for this product, right? Okay, so the last tool I want to show you is Google Trends. Now, this is going to be validating our research and giving us some design ideas, maybe some trends we're seeing based on our other research that we did through Etsy and through using Everbee. Google Trends, you can just type in on Google Trends, bookmark this page and use it to see what people are really searching. So let's say I'm going to type in, so there's a few things you can use with Google Trends. To start off, as we can see, what is currently being searched right now is usually what it shows on the homepage. So again, I'm filming in March Madness 2025. That's something that's trending. You can click on the Trending Now button and we can see exactly what is being searched on Google and what are the top search volumes right now. Now, this is something that I've seen a lot of sellers use who are going into a lot of news related pop culture or what I consider trending niches. So these are typically niches that are going to sell a lot and in high volume for a short duration of time because they are based on very quick selling areas and very trending areas on Etsy, right? So an example is maybe going into anything like March Madness or maybe March Madness ideas. Given a lot of things in the NCAA are trademarked, it's copyright infringement, so I'd be careful of that. But that is something that you could go into to hit this trend we're seeing on Google, right? Now, going back to home, if I were to put in, I'm going to put in honeymoon and I'll put shirt. So we're going to use the same exact search phrase that we saw with Etsy. So as we can see, I see past day. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do past 12 months to get our data, because if you just only do in the past day, it's not really going to give you exactly what you're looking for. So as far as honeymoon shirt interest over time, we're seeing as, okay, in February, right? It's going to trend in the beginning of March. We're seeing a trend for this. Now I'm going to look at just like all, we're going to see what the data is for all in the past 20 years, right? Instead, now I'm going to do the past 5 years. So in the past 5 years, again, we're seeing October trending in 2020. We're seeing March. So March right now, great time to be listing for honeymoon shirts, right? May, that's in an area we're seeing. October again. So I see October 2020 and then we're seeing October 2022. So it seems like that might be a popular time. April, honeymoon shirts. So given sometimes Google Trends is not going to be as reliable as something like Etsy, we see that in the organic searches very frequently, which is good to see. But when we're looking on Google Trends, it doesn't look as prevalent. So maybe if I put, let's see, I'm going to put honeymoon. I see honeymoon as a topic. So let's just look at honeymoon as a topic over time. And I'm going to look over this in the past 12 months. So what I found with Google Trends is you do have to be very, in some terms, if you look up something that is on Etsy trending, typically on Google Trends, you're not going to get the same results or enough data to really analyze it. So when it comes to Google Trends, what I recommend is typing in maybe one word as opposed to the full search phrase, because again, it's just hard to find what you're really looking for as far as data points. So as we can see, again, consistent volume of search history. So I'm seeing a lot of honeymoons. So we're seeing this all throughout the year. And again, we're seeing some peaks here and there in different parts of the year. So we're seeing May, and then we're seeing December, it looks like right now, March. So given this giving us a lot of trends for at least seeing this niche is something people are searching for. And given when they're typing in honeymoon, they're probably looking up like honeymoon destinations, right? Maybe planning a honeymoon trip. Now, when it comes to honeymoons, what I like to look at is related topics and related queries, because this is going to give us maybe some more ideas on what people are really looking for as far as searches. So as we can see, if I look at the different areas, it looks like a lot of quintessential quintuplets, honeymoon dress to impress, top honeymoon destinations 2025. So I know there it might be like, okay, Heather, that is obvious search queries. But again, these are some things that maybe a lot of us aren't thinking about is where is our customer going to travel, right? So if I search on Google, what I'm going to look at is I'm going to put honeymoon destinations. So as we can see, it's already populating in the US, in North Carolina, Florida, on a budget, all inclusive, tropical, right? So I've seen a lot in the US. So I wonder what exactly may be popular. So we have Maui, Kauai. In Hawaii, we have Florida Keys, Charleston. So again, Napa Valley, Savannah. So these might be good ideas as far as what can we personalize to where our customer is going, right? So maybe they aren't doing a abroad honeymoon. Maybe they're doing it in the US. If we're looking honeymoon destinations, so I'm going to put top honeymoon destinations 2025 and see what we have. So Maldives, Santorini, Greece, Italy, Bali, Mauritius. I shouldn't try to pronounce that word. But as we can see, this is giving us ideas of what are the best honeymoon destinations. And again, what listings can we create for these couples, right? If they're traveling, maybe they want a matching couple t-shirt and maybe for it to say Maldives, maybe Santorini, right? We can create honeymoon listings on Etsy that are specific to these areas that customers are going to add in that personalization element. And we know that they're doing a honeymoon destination and maybe they want to wear those matching t-shirts or sweatshirts or outfits, right? So at the end of this video, some takeaways I want you all to have. First off, what would I use with this information? So in the beginning of this video, when we were looking up honeymoon shirts was a top search query. So what I personally would jump into through this research is I would go into matching honeymoon shirts or matching honeymoon sweatshirts because that looks like where the market demand really is. If I were to go a little bit further, if I were going into micro niches, which is typically what I like to target, I would do specific locations in different phrases for those locations on sweatshirts that might be embroidered. Or maybe I might create graphics and designs for those different areas and make that specific for honeymooners, right? Again, this is just giving ideas as far as what I would go into if I were researching and then I went into listing creation after, maybe 5 for sweatshirts, 5 for t-shirts, similar design styles on those 5 listings, but trying different design styles to see in that market what's going to sell. I hope this helped you all. And again, if you want to start a Etsy and print-on-demand business, I highly recommend taking my free print-on-demand crash course in the links down below. I also have linked Evergreen and there are free plans available. So if you don't already have this, highly recommend just trying the free plan and trying some of the things that I'm teaching throughout this video with me with that free plan. I will see you all in the next video here.